What's up, everybody? Let's go ahead and get right on into it. Starting things off with DAL. We'll see how it does in the morning. It's very possible that this thing is going to gap up overnight because United Airlines had earnings today. So we'll see what happens. But strike price that I am going to be looking at around entry is going to be the 47. Love everything about it. Now let's go ahead and talk price taquitos, right? So this has been on watch list a couple times this week. Today it took out every single price target. Tomorrow would be awesome if it did it again. And then even here, it took out all the price targets as well that day when we had it on. And then after the one, this took out several price targets as well. So this thing has been taking out price targets all week, right? So let's see if we can continue that momentum. If we do, my first price target is going to be right here. At the beginning of the day, we shot up, we rejected this, and then the next time that we got to it, we wicked from it and we wicked from it. So right here is where I see that first algo happening. Then the second one is going to be right here off of this failed too because it didn't quite get up to here, right? Right over here on this day, it hit this, it plummeted, and then we have a wick above it, a wick above it, and then even in this little area, this closes below it and then shoots down beneath it. So then, of course, the high of the day, and we're going to zoom into the 5 minute to see where this price target and this price target is. So zooming into the 5, we can see that second to the last one is going to be right here off of this pivot, right in here off of this 212. The one was the indecision. The two finally decided. The top of it is potentially where people are going to have their stop losses. And then right here is that middle one that we're looking at, because as you can see, we're just bleeding, a pop of green. Something happens right in here. We keep on going down. So next time we get in here, let's see if that algorithm to push it back down kicks in. And if we break it, then we'll head up to the next one. And that is DAL that we're looking at for tomorrow. Next is going to be AMD. Now, the reason that AMD I'm looking for puts tomorrow is because the monthly is really what's like bleeding right now. So we're looking to take this back at a time frame continuity on the daily. And this is not a very bullish candle at all. For those maybe that haven't seen it, if we look at who has control of this candle, then we can see that the sellers have control of this aspect of the candle and the buyers have control of this aspect of the candle. And we'll make this one green, green. So as you can see, it's a pretty good fight going on right now between these two. And there are several times where it'll be green and then it'll just continue into that monthly time frame continuity. Let's see if that happens again tomorrow. If we do break down and become a 2 up, 2 down reversal, we'll know exactly why and we'll know exactly where to take things. With that being said, strike price that I'm going to be looking at is going to be at the 160 right in here. Love everything about this. And beyond that, let's go ahead and look at the price targets. We're going to start right here on the 30 minutos, right? Right in here, bang, we were coming down, beep, we hit this, we shot right back up for a bit. Yes, we did break it, but then look at the wick through it right in here. So this is going to be an important spot that we're going to test out first. If we make it through here, we'll come test out the bottom of this too, where this wicks off of it, this wicks through it, and this is the final bounce to the upside. As you can see, we just went to the moon the next day off of that. Then let's test the bottom of this too, which correlates with where these three got really close and closed way up above it. Right? Look at this freaking three right in here, right? So be careful. And when we get around this area, and then of course the final price target for the day for that full complete movement. AMD looks really good in my opinion as well, and I would love for it to trigger and do its thing. Next, we're going to have AR. I'm going to be looking at the 2950 strike. Really like this one as well. Incredible spreads, really tight. And the movement on this will take care of it, and you'll make some really decent money if it does end up going in our favor. Moving on into the 30-minute time frame, let's start seeing where some potential pivots could be happening. I believe that if you are in puts, your first stop loss is going to be right here. All this contention is starting to happen. And if we break through this, we'll test here and here after that, right? Then we'll come test this spot where, as you can see, decisions are being made in this area like crazy, even all the way out in here, same little area. And then, of course, the high of the day. So AR really simple, actually, and has a really great setup, especially considering we're like pinching in between this area. Waking off of this is pretty nice. And this is an old broadening formation from these 2 3s. And as you can see, every time we wick beneath it, we've shot up. We wick beneath it, we shot up. So yes, it's a broadening formation, but it's also a trend line. It's just rejecting that bad boy yet again. And maybe we can see that nice little pop up from that rejection. Moving on into Disney. Disney as well has a really nice fail 2 on it. Now, considering the fact that last time we were in this area, it was all breaking down from it. You see how we were breaking down from this area, and now we're tapping it and bouncing up. So what does that mean? The algorithm has potentially switched, right? It's very possible that it could retest it another day, but it definitely is looking like the algorithm has switched, and this could be the retest of it. And we could be bouncing up tomorrow with this failed too. This is a really beautiful setup. Really beautiful setup off of the algos with a actionable signal. And we are looking at testing the top of this one right in here where these candles wick off of it. This one wicks through it as well. Then we'll test the top of this body, which is in between this and these wicks right in here. Definitely going to test those, the high of the day. And then we're going to zoom into the 5-minute right here to see what other potential area we could bounce off of on the way. And as you can see by zooming in, we do see a nice little wick here and a nice little wick here, and making this spot another point of contention. And I believe that we'll come and test that out. If we break through this area, we'll definitely see the high of the day get met on Disney. Now, Disney, I am looking at the strike price of, yeah, 115. I believe that that's going to be really, really a nice spot to be sitting at. And intrinsically, you will definitely get in the money if we do make it all the way up, even just to PT 4 in here. You'll be in the money, and you will have a very nice sizable gain because of that. From potentially doubling your money on any contracts that you have. So, all right, moving on into Netflix. Now, Netflix, I am choosing some very out of the money contracts because of how expensive they are. So if you have the watch list, those strike prices are where I'll personally be shopping because one, the delta is not horrendous. It actually is something that you can make some money off of if it moves, but it's like half the price of what these contracts are currently going for. So use the strike prices on the watch list. Unless you have a very nice sizable account and you feel comfortable spending at the money, then spend at the money, of course. Now we do have an inside day, right? This inside day could go either way tomorrow, right? We're not here to guess. We're here to just be prepared for any direction that it does break. It does have earnings coming up in a couple days, so we'll see what happens with that as well. And that could be why the contracts are so exuberantly expensive, is just because we're getting so close to earnings. Typically, the value of things starts going up a lot because a ton of people are getting it in preparation for that. All right, moving into the 30-minute time frame, let's talk about the upside first. We've got a classic case of steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. This is really easy to see. Right in here is going to be just our first spot, where if you were in puts, you're going to have a stop loss here. If we break this, the next spot will be right in here, where these two candles, you can see the little fight going on with this algo right here. So this is a little bit of a stronger algorithm. Then right in here, we can see we break it, and then we wick through it right in here. We're going to have to test this all over again, the high of this candle, then the high of the day. Now let's move on to the downside and see where these are coming from. Now, the reason that this is so much closer, that I don't have it really prepared for the entire room that this could take, is because if it starts off up here tomorrow and then comes all the way down, that's a majority of the range that Netflix can move, which means that once it breaks entry, it's not going to move 25, 35 extra dollars, because that would be super outside of its range. But this is what's possible for it to do if it does break entry to the downside and come test things out. The first spot that we will test is going to be right here. Right. And I know that this is definitely in between, but it's good to zoom out and see, because look at how look at this big bounce from this, how it's breaking to the downside down here. And then right in here is going to be that next spot where you can see these candles are wicking off of it as well. Right. It's just off of the bottom of this too. If we break through here, we'll come test the bottom of this too. And then because of the range that it could have, we'll test the bottom of this. I'm not really going to get greedy and look for the bottom of these or for it to reach all the way down to 600. Could it? Sure. But, this is just what I'm planned for because breaking outside of that would be going much farther away for price targets. And like I said, as far as range goes, if it starts up here and then breaks down, then it will be using a ton of its range to even get to entry. And to the upside, these are the spots where it can clearly bounce off of pretty hardcore. So just don't need to really go outside of that. All right, that's Netflix. Let's go ahead and go into Z. This is a great smaller ticker as well. We're bouncing right off of one of the quarterly PTs that I gave you guys. And so this quarterly has been working out. We broke entry, we ran. We pretty much got pennies away, literally 4 pennies away from a price target. You could have made some really nice dough taking the quarterly on this and just sitting in it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And then you would have been out today when it got around that price target. You would have been out of majority of your contracts and you would have been sitting very pretty on that play. Let's talk about it. Contracts that I'm looking at, if we break to the upside, are going to be the 43.50. Really inexpensive as well. The spreads, if you're concerned about the spreads, just use the limit trick where you can, adjust the orders yourself. But that delta is so nice. And as soon as we get up into the money, you are going to be sitting very pretty with that rolling over into it. All right, now let's zoom into the 30-minute time frame. Bada bing, bada booms, right? This failed to right in here is going to be where that first pivot is. Not quite here, but right here. And if you look, you'll see that's where the algorithm switched. It tried to get back up above it, rejected it, came back down. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. That's why you want to be prepared for algorithms wherever they are and knowing how to spot them. If we do break this, we'll come test the top of this bad boy out where you can see the 3 wicks through it to the downside. So there is something sitting right in here as well. Then the top of this too, kind of completing the first set of steps in here. And then once we get out of this little choppy area here where this is going to be the big test of it, we'll come test out this bad boy. Then we'll go all the way up to that high of the day. We're going to zoom into the 5-minute to see what's going on in between this area, if there's anything that we need to be looking out for. And yes, we can see that we were coming up and then we rocked right back down. The reason why I chose this as the price target as opposed to this is because of how much action is going on with it over here. This is another spot where you can clearly see the algorithm switched. So it's really good to be able to identify these things. And when you can, then you kind of know like, okay, well, we probably aren't going to go to the final price target. We might test like the second to last one, or the third to last one. It's really good to be aware of your charts like that. And that's why it is advantageous to sometimes zoom in whenever you see big range of areas where there's nothing pivoting. All right, let's go ahead and move on to PG. Now, PG gave us the sign that it wanted to come down yesterday and ended up breaking that actual signal stop loss and then pushing right back down like it wants to come down tomorrow. So let's see if it does. This is a classic case of who has more control, right? The buyers, even though this is a green candle, the buyers have control of this much of the candle. The sellers have control of this much of the candle. So then you got to ask yourself, which way are we going? If this is how much control the sellers have and this is how much control the buyers have at the end of the day, which way are we really going, right? We're probably getting ready to come to the downside. And if it's anything like the signals have been recently, it could happen fast, right? That's what's been happening lately. If you oversleep, you miss it. All right in here, we're going to test the bottom of this 3. Then we'll test the bottom of this 2. And of course, this 3, look at the freaking wick off of it. Yes, it ended up coming back down, but there might be some leftover orders in there. And props to you if you notice it's right where this wicked off of, right where this wicked off of as well. Kudos to you for noticing. And if you didn't, now you do. Then we'll test the bottom of this 2, where you can see these things are getting, choppy around it as well. We're going to zoom in to look at this one, the bottom of the 3, because most 3s have algorithms. The bottom of this 3, which is actually the low of one of the other days as well. Let's go ahead and zoom into the 5-minute to see where that other price target is sitting at. And it was right here, right in the middle. All this choppiness, right? Let's zoom in a little bit more. And you can see how We bounce off of it here. We end up breaking through it, the wick through it, the choppiness through it, the wick to the upside, the big catapult off of it. And then boom, we're just stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck. We're bouncing off. We hit it. We bounce right back up. We finally break it. We're stuck. We're wicking. We're wicking. We're wicking. We're wicking. We're wicking. And then boom, we break it. We wick it. We wick it. And then we're gone. We're gone. So that is why it's good to zoom in sometimes, because this algorithm right here is going to be a very important one tomorrow, and we're going to see what sort of decisions they make. And when it comes to the strike price, I'm going to be looking at the 155. I really like it as far as the price goes, the spreads, and the delta. I think it's going to be a great trade tomorrow once it breaks entry. And then tailing things off with Triple M, which has a nice fail two on it as well. We are a little bit outside of this trend in here, but it could just be that we're setting up this one, and or this could be one as well, right? It's very possible. This could be the second, maybe third bounce off of it. We'll see. We'll see. And if it does go up tomorrow, it does have the room to run through these price targets. The strike price that I'm going to be looking at is going to be the 91.50 right in here. Again, love how inexpensive it is. Love the giant delta attached to it. If we move up to PT1, you're going to be in the money. That is beautiful. It's one of the best things that I love when you're buying at the money, and then by PT1, no matter how close it is, you're in the money. You're sitting pretty. I love watching my Thinkorswim have the ITM on it. I don't know about you. All right, let's go ahead and move into the 30 minutes. Start seeing where these price targets going to be. First one's going to be right in here. And if you are keen to the eye, you'll see that these are all wicking off of it right in here in this section. The next one is going to be right here off of this one. All of these are wicking off of it as well. This is where it's finally breaking to the downside. Then we'll come test out the top of this right here where this is wicking it. This is having its little reversal moment with an extra price target right outside of that. And then the wick through right here where it was like, do I want to get above this? No. And then it came right back down. And then, like I said, the top of this one as well, where you can see these things, and then the high of that day. So yeah, awesome, awesome. I hope that this finds you well. I hope that you take something from this to be more prepared for the trades tomorrow. God bless. I hope the trades are going really well for you. The watch list has been hitting like crazy, like crazy. It's been taking out several price targets so quickly. And those that are prepared prosper. So let's keep prospering, gang. God bless, and I'll see you soon.